Hello all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade, and I'm here. Well, I'm here to just full on point out the left's complete and total racism. I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore. City of Seattle held segregated training session for white staff aimed at undoing their whiteness, and told them not to take undeserved promotions, to be better allies for racial justice. Go away, you stupid pop-up. Alright, the City of Seattle held a segregated training session for white staffers last month in which they instructed workers on how to undo their whiteness. Can you imagine that? You're a city employee and the city is lecturing you on how to undo your whiteness? Really? Titled Interrupting Internalized Racial Superiority and Whiteness, the training session was reportedly held by the Office of Civil Rights on June 12th. The handout distributed in the 2.5-hour session. 2.5 hours they were force-fed this bullshit. These poor people. All they want is a paycheck, and they have to go through this hell. Okay, anyway, reportedly read that racism is not our fault, but we are responsible. Yeah, right. Another said, white staffers must give up the land and their guaranteed physical safety. What? White staffers must give up the land and their guaranteed physical safety. White people aren't allowed to be safe, evidently, in order to be an accomplice for racial justice. So, in order for me to help propagate racial justice, I must give up my right to security? That doesn't even make fucking sense. Another said white staffers must... Oh, I just read that. The Seattle Office of Civil Rights has not yet returned a dailymail.com request for comment on the alleged training program. Oh, but there's more. And will you go away if I close you? Okay. The city held a segregation training session for white staffers last month in which they instructed workers on how to undo their whiteness and affirm their complicity in racism, reports suggest. Titled Interrupting Internalized Racial Superiority and Whiteness. The training session was reportedly held by the Office of Civil Rights on June 12th, the same day protesters took part in the Chop Zone demonstrations in Capitol Hill District. Christopher F. Rufo, an editor for the City Journal and director of the Discovery Institute's Center on Wealth and Poverty, unearthed the session's existence after filing a Freedom of Information request last week, which was approved Monday. Okay, so that's where they have to, they're having a city function and they had to keep records of it, so he wants to see the records. One handout distributed in the 2.5-hour session reportedly read that racism is not our fault, but we are responsible. Another said white staffers must give up the land and their guaranteed physical safety in order to be an accomplice for racial justice. In an email inviting employees to the event, the office asked city employees who identified as white to join this training to learn, reflect, challenge ourselves, and build skills and relations that help us show up more fully as allies and accomplices for racial justice. We'll examine our complicity in the system of white supremacy, how we eternalize and reinforce it, and begin to cultivate practices that enable us to interrupt racism in ways to be accountable to Black, Indigenous, and people of color folks within our community, the email continued. The name of the email author was redacted. Imagine that. Rufo said as the city of Seattle refused to provide the names of the diversity trainers, the budget for the program, or the video of the session. In a thread posted to his Twitter account, Rufo outlined the various stages of the training session. He said the first of all diversity trainers informed white participants that objectivity, individualism, intellectualization, and comfort are all vestiges of internalized racial oppression. Rufo outlined the various stages of the training session. He said that the first of all, diversity training... I just read that. Okay, diversity trainers also encourage staffers to cultivate networks with other white people who are practicing anti-racist accomplicehood, so you can talk through your struggles in the work of undoing your own whiteness. It's tough to blackwash your whiteness, I'm telling you. I mean, I scrub and I'm still white. I don't know how to fix it. Anyway, moving on. In such networks, the trainers urged participations to practice self-talk that affirm our complicity in racism. They were also instructed to give up niceties from neighbors and colleagues, the certainty of your job, and accepting jobs and promotions when we are not qualified, including racial equity jobs. White employees were also issued a flowchart outlining the cycle of racism that whites perpetuate through superior justification, self-righteousness, fear, shame, and guilt over harmful actions towards people of color and smallness and inauthenticity. White people are unable to imagine a way forward that stems from a place of humanity and empowerment. Thus, the status quo is reinforced, the chart concluded. For any employees questioning their ethnicity, the instructors handed out an information sheet titled Assimilation to Whiteness, which noted those of Arab, Jewish, Finnish, German, Italian, Armenian, or Irish descent identify as white. Oh boy. I suppose the French should identify as Blanchet? Would that be better? And the Germans should identify as I don't know. I'm really trying here. Anyway, so let's look at this flowchart. White people keep the system going. System co-opts us through socialization, ego, and the IRS. The fuck does the IRS have to do with anything? To cause harm to POC and each other. IRS mindset and behaviors. IRS must be some sort of acronym that's not the Internal Revenue Service in this example. What would IRS stand for? Ego and IRS. I don't know. IRS mindset and behaviors justify why we are superior and have been wronged by persons of color. That's POC. Okay. Our anger, self-righteousness, and defensiveness mask fear, shame, and guilt for the harm of our actions. Okay. We show up small and inauthentic, unable to see opportunities to contribute as allies and accomplices. We are unable to imagine a way forward that comes from a place of humanity and empowerment. Status quo reinforced. And then the cycle repeats itself, huh? That's a bunch of utter and complete bullshit if I've ever read it. But let's see if there's anything more here. Employees were also taught how to interrupt their whiteness by being honest and implicate yourself either in the moment or in past experiences in which you acted or thought similarly. Don't blame others. Don't distance. Don't make yourself seem better. None of us is a handout, said. You are also white, and what someone else did today, you may do tomorrow. According to Rufo, the goal of the session was to teach white workers how they have been complicit in the system of white supremacy and must be held accountable to black, indigenous, and peoples of color. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, anyone with a brain can see that's what they're trying to cram down our throats here. The Seattle Office of Civil Rights has not yet returned a dailymail.com request for comment on the alleged training program. It's unclear if the training was mandatory or optional. Wouldn't that be amazing if this type of racist rhetoric was mandatory training in an official city government positions inside of the United States of America? Right. We can't make this crap up. The left actually believes this Kool-Aid. They can't see how racist they're being. I think I'm gonna make my own flowchart for the left and their inability to see their racism. I think that would be a great flowchart. What do you guys think? Maybe that'll be my next video. Anyway, I'm Jaames Johnson, and I'm not gonna say a whole lot more about this diversity training because I don't think I need to say anything more. I'm pretty sure you all, well, anyone who's watching that has half a brain can easily see just how utterly and completely fucked up beyond all recognition this is. And we don't. There is no place for this in the United States. This is wrong, and it just needs to get the hell out. But yeah, I'm Jaames Johnson, aka Software. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all, peace.